It's on. Hey y'all, welcome to Six Functional. My name's Cassara. I'm the mommy in the Six Functional fam. Today I'm gonna be talking about my 15 and pregnant story. I did do a 15 and pregnant story on my personal page, but I felt like I should do it on our family page so that you guys know how we combined and came together and blah blah blah, whatever. If you're not a subscriber, please make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification for when we post future videos. And if you're a subscriber, we love you so much and thank you so much for the support. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. I'm not gonna put all the crazy stuff out there about when I was 15 and pregnant because I put that in my other video on my personal page. But I will go into how I found out and what happened and how my mom reacted and so on and so forth. So I was 15. At the time, my parents were on drugs and I was working a job where I would ride my bike like 2 to 3 miles under the table for $80 a week. My boyfriend, aka baby daddy at the time, he was in like a juvenile place for people that get in trouble. Like, you know, if you're a kid, you get in trouble and you go to like a lockup that's not like an actual jail or an actual lockup, then yeah, so he went there because he was stealing a lot, which is really bad. But yeah, so he was in there and I was living with my mom and my stepdad at the time in a 1-bedroom apartment. And in that 1-bedroom apartment, there was only a futon in the living room and a futon mattress in my bedroom, which was the only bedroom. And all my clothes were like folded on the floor and stuff and whatever over there. Also, I look kind of like crap right now because I had took a shower and I haven't done nothing with my hair, but that's okay, right, y'all? Anyways, so yeah, so that's like what my living situation was. I would see my boyfriend on the weekends when he got home visits. How I found out I was pregnant. I was having really bad cramps. And I had remembered I hadn't got my period. I was like past my period for a couple of days. So I got really nervous, and when I went to the Dollar Tree, yes, I said it, the Dollar Tree, I got $1.08 pregnancy test. And I say 8 cents because, you know, Dollar Tree, everything is $1, but with tax it was $1.08. So I got the Dollar Tree pregnancy test. I went home, I went into the bathroom and I took the pregnancy test, and I just remember sitting on the toilet like, oh my God, please don't let me be pregnant. I'm too young to be pregnant. My mom is gonna kill me. What are people gonna think of me? Like, I was hella nervous. So I remember like turning around and grabbing the pregnancy test, and it had 2 lines and I was pregnant. So my whole heart had like dropped, but I was excited because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant by this dude that all the girls wanted. Now me and him about to have a baby and we gonna do this and we gonna do that. And no, it was definitely not like that, and I'll get to that story soon. But yeah, so I was pregnant. So then I told my baby father, who was happy. He says he was happy, which I'm gonna let y'all know something. I am now 29, married to a wonderful man, and I have a total of 3 kids. And my son, Joshua, who is 13, gonna be 14 in like 2 weeks, has not seen his dad in years. His dad like just doesn't care, but we'll get into that later. So anyways, so I was pregnant and my mom had went to jail like a couple days before I found out I was pregnant. But the crazy part is that there was a girl that we knew that was like 14 years old and she already had a 6-month-old baby. And when me and my mom were talking, she was like, you better not ever have a baby at that age. You'll have an early abortion and the clinic ain't gonna be the one to do it. Also known as she was gonna beat my ass and make me get rid of the baby. But that didn't happen because she ended up being in jail. And before I told her, I told my grandparents who lived in Pittsburgh, which is like 5-6 hours away from us. And my grandmother is totally against abortion and everything. So that's why I told her. And plus, if I was woman enough to lay down and open my legs and do the dirty, I was woman enough to have a baby. So I wasn't about to have an abortion and do it. I was going to take responsibility of what I had. So I told my grandmother, and we talked about it, and she wasn't upset. She just said, be a good mom, take care of her, don't be like your mom, this, that, and the third. So my mom called. I had told her, and she was like freaking out, like, you're not gonna have this baby and this and that and like all this stuff. And then finally I had told her that I already told grandma, and she like kind of yelled at me and was like, oh, you think you're slick, you think you're this, you think you're that, and whatever. But at the end of the day she got out of jail, she went to like Family Dollar and she bought me like $80 worth of baby stuff. So she was excited, and she had just got out of jail, so she wasn't on drugs. But then they had made her go into like a rehab or whatever. So that was going on because CPS, which is Child Protective Services, was involved, and me and my unborn child were in fear of being taken into like an orphanage or whatever they call them if my mom didn't comply with what was going on. So I also got put into this school called Young Mothers, which is a school for all women or girls that are young moms, pregnant, or already have kids or whatever, and still want to continue their education. So before I got put in that school, I was so nervous about going to school, to a regular school, and being pregnant around everybody, where everyone was like cheerleading and having fun and doing this and doing that and whatever the case was. But again, it was my fault that I put myself in this situation, so that was the consequences I had to deal with. But luckily I got put into this Young Mothers program. The program was amazing. I loved it. There was other girls in there like me. We got along well. I was doing really well in school. You know, my mom and them were trying to recover from drugs, so everything was going really, really good. When I was 3 months pregnant with my son, I was 98 pounds. I was 98 pounds. And then by the time I had my son, I was 182 pounds. And I'll tell you guys how I got there. So about 6.5 months pregnant, I remember being like really swollen. My legs were hurting and stuff. And I remember walking down the hallway in school and I could barely walk. So they called an ambulance. They took me to the hospital. I had high blood pressure and everything. So finally we found out that I had toxemia, aka preeclampsia. And if you guys don't know what that is, you can like Google it, but pretty much it's like when your blood pressure goes high, your body retains water. That's why they say you shouldn't, like, you should stay away from like sodium and all that stuff. If you don't know what sodium is, it's salt. So they say you should stay away from that stuff or whatever. So I ended up being put on bed rest for the rest of my pregnancy, and I had a tutor come to my house every day to tutor me. So fast forward, I was home getting tutored, everything. My due date was May 16th, 2004. May 16th happened to be the day after my baby daddy's birthday. So he was like so happy, hopefully he gets born on his birthday and this and that, but he didn't. So come May 16th, my due date came, and I was not having anything go on. So they were like, oh, if you don't have it by the following Monday, we'll just induce you. So the morning of the 20th, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I had to pee really bad. So I went to the bathroom, and when I got up, it was like leaking. There was like stuff leaking, but I thought it was just like after effects of whatever. I don't know. I was a new mom, so I didn't know what was going on. So I just went back to sleep. Then when I woke up at like 7 o'clock in the morning to get ready for my tutor to come, stuff was like leaking out of me. So it was on my thigh, and I remember touching my thigh and going like this, and it was like really icky and sticky. I know that's so disgusting, but it was really icky and sticky, and I was like, oh my God, I am leaking water. So I run downstairs, wake my mom. I'm like, Mom, and she's hella hard to wake up. But she's like, what? And I was like, I'm leaking. And she went flying out of bed, and she's like, oh my God, we gotta go. And I was like, wait, I need to call my doctor first. So I called my doctor, and they were like, okay, come in, let's check it out, let's see what's going on. So then I had to call my baby daddy, who was at the lockup place, to see if he could get released. By the way, y'all like my coffee cup? It's a hers. Me and my husband have his coffee all over it because I'm clumsy, so it always goes. So I had to call there, see if he could be released, and they said yeah. So we were on our way to get him, and I remember we were at a red light, and all of a sudden I just had this big warm whoosh like come out of me, and I was freaking out. I was in the driver's seat. I wasn't even old enough to drive. I was in the passenger seat going like, oh my God, freaking out, like what is going on? Oh my God, oh my God. And I remember the guy in the car next to us at the red light looked like, what the hell is going on there? And I was just like freaking out. I didn't know what to do, and my mom's laughing at me. Mind you, it's all over her front seat of her car, and I was so embarrassed. So we get Joshua's dad, and my mom's telling him the story, so he started saying, she leaking, she's soaking wet. You know that song, like way back in the day, whatever. But they made a joke out of that. So then we get to the hospital, and I'm like walking in the hospital like this with my legs hella wide open, because I did not want, I don't know, it was just so nasty, and people were looking at me like I was crazy, and I was like kind of crying because I was nervous and I didn't know what to expect. So we got there, they changed me, they checked me, and they're like, oh, are you feeling anything? And I was like, no. They were like, well, you're having contractions. I was like, oh, well, I don't feel it, whatever. So they go, well, we're really busy, and since you're not feeling anything and you're not really dilated, we're gonna send you home, and we're gonna have you come back at 5 o'clock tonight and get you put in a room and stuff. By this time it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. So they were like, go home, walk around, do whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I did that. I went home, I was walking around. So about like 4:30ish, the hospital had called me and asked me if I was having, like contractions and stuff, and I was like, no. They're like, all right, well, we're really busy, so come in at 6. So you're like, okay. So I go in at 6, and I still wasn't having contractions. They get me comfortable in my bed, blah, blah, blah. So they wanted to make the contractions come on so that I could dilate. So they gave me this stuff called Pitocin, which they put an IV in your arm, and it helps like induce your labor a little bit. And the funny part about that is that it's like I don't know how it is now, but there's like a button, a monitor, and it has an up and a down arrow. And every time the nurse would push it up, I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I gotta put the numbers up so your contractions come on. And I was like, no, you don't. And I kept pushing it down. She's like, you can't do that, sweetie. And I was like, no, I don't want them to come on. She was like, but you want the baby to come out, right? And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to feel no pain. Major. Shh. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to feel no pain. So anyways, I had to keep it going. So I still didn't have contractions. Okay, so I remember at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I was having really bad cramps. They kind of felt like period cramps. So I got up and I went to the bathroom, and the nurse had came in. She was like, are you feeling them now? And I was like, yeah, it hurts a lot. Sorry, y'all. My dog keeps like barking and it's driving me nuts. So anyways, I was like, yeah, it's starting to hurt. So she was like, just lay down. I'll give you a little bit of pain medicine. You'll be okay. And I was like, okay. So I woke up in the morning and I still wasn't dilating. So by that time, they had gave me something called a cervidil, however you say it. They put it like inside you to help your cervix dilate so that it can get the labor going a little more. So throughout the morning, things were getting worse and it was hurting a lot. And my whole pregnancy, I was like, I am not getting an epidural because I heard so many horror stories about it and blah, 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 blah. But it got to the point where I was like, give me the medicine. Give it to me now. Because like I was going nuts and I wanted to like hurt somebody. So they gave me the epidural, and at that point I was just like, ugh. Felt better. I was in and out of it. I wasn't feeling anything. Then about 7 o'clock p.m. I started to feel like I had to go to the bathroom really bad. And the nurse was like, that means that you're ready to push. So let's get this ball started. Let's get this ball rolling, whatever. So we get the ball rolling, the doctors come in, everybody's going. So I'm pushing every which way. They put this little bar up where they tied a sheet, and I had to like hold the sheet and put my legs up, and I was pushing and nothing was happening. So here comes 10 o'clock at night, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm pushing for 3 hours. 3 hours. And nothing's happening. Everyone's like, we got to get her into the operating room. She might have to have emergency C-section. Supposedly your water can't be broke for more than 36 hours because it causes risk for infection. And it was just horrible. So the doctor's like, we're going to take you into the operating room and we're going to prep you for a C-section, but we're going to try to use a suction cup and see if that helps. So they get me into the operating room and we start going at it. They put the suction cup on. They're like, when you have a contraction, I'm going to tell you to push and we're going to pull. So contraction came, bam, I push, they pull, it goes pop. And I just remember my mom going, what was that? There's blood everywhere. And I'm like freaking out. But the suction cup had popped off, so it didn't work. So they were like, okay, it is time for a C-section. So I really don't remember a lot about my C-section, but I remember the horrible stuff that I went through like right after the C-section, and how I had a really bad infection and just a whole bunch of stuff. And my little baby boy had got put into ICU, but I'm not gonna go into that right now. I'll do maybe another video if you guys want to on the 15th on my labor, because it was horrible after the C-section. Well, I kind of just did my labor, but after the C-section it was really horrible. But I want to let you guys know that being 15 and pregnant was really hard, because after that, Joshua's dad wasn't really in the picture. He didn't help with nothing. I was by myself. My parents got on drugs again. I had to still go to school. I had to still work. I had to still do like all this stuff, like all the Teen Mom, MTV, all that stuff. Yeah, it's real, but after their first season, they go on to their next. They're making money, so they're able to support their kids. It's hard for people that don't have that foundation. There's people out there that get pregnant and have that family support and all that, but I didn't have that, so I had to do it on my own. And it was really, really, really hard. I went through a lot. My eye looks like it's like swollen. I do not have a lazy eye, y'all, just in case y'all are wondering. But even if I did, I'd still be hella beautiful. Right? No, I'm playing. Let me stop. I'm not conceited. But it was really hard. I went through a lot of trials. I hit a lot of bumpy roads. There was times where I wanted to give up. There was times that I just didn't know what to do. And on top of that, my son was a colic baby, and if anybody knows who that is, they cry all the time. So he was colicky, and it was really, really, really hard for me. But I came out of it, and like I said, I'm now 29 years old. I'm married to a wonderful man. I have 2 other children. 2 of my kids are not his, but my youngest one, Natalia, who's 5, is his. But my other 2 kids are his, and he tells them all the time that he doesn't need a birth certificate or anything to know that they're his son. And that's what makes it so much more better. I love him so much. He's the best man ever. Our family is so crazy. We do crazy stuff. We make fun of each other. We have fun, and it's all out of love and stuff. Watch our other videos. See what you guys think. We're gonna be doing a lot more stuff. And if you guys want to hear how horrible it was for me after my C-section, comment down below and let me know. I also had my 10-year-old daughter when I was 19. So I can tell you guys that story too. And yes, I had a C-section with her. And anything else that you guys want to see, let me know. I'm not gonna hide anything, and on this channel we don't hide anything. We are the realest family ever. There's other families out there that's like, oh, you swore, oh my gosh, it's bad. But let me tell you something. If my son hits his toe off the corner of the table, a kid is gonna react, damn it, or something like that. It's an accident. Okay, don't say it again, whatever. We're just so real, and we say that every day is dysfunctional because every day literally is dysfunctional in our house, and we go through crazy stuff, and it's funny. We prank each other all the time, and that's what made us start the vlog, because we want people to see into the real of people, and we want to document our life because there's stuff that goes on that you guys would like not believe, and it's funny. So please, 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 please subscribe. Hit the bell notification. Comment down below what you guys would like to see. Comment down below how you guys like this video. This is not how I look all the time. I was cleaning and I took a shower, and this is what my hair looks like when I don't do anything to it. It's still kind of wet. But yeah, we are crazy. You guys are gonna fall in love with us. So subscribe. Why does my eye look like it's swollen? I'm gonna have to go look at that after this video. So I love all you guys. Even if you don't subscribe, I still love you. I love everybody. We love everybody. Tell us what y'all want to see next. And yeah, I guess that's how the ending of this vlog goes. Love y'all.